Hi, Kshitij. First of all, thank you so much for taking the time to join this conversation. As someone who is part of Vibha's journey, I've always admired the incredible depth and scale of the work being done on the ground in India. And when we talk about impactful projects, innovation in education, and data driven transformation, your name consistently stands out. Over the last 3 years, as director of projects, you have helped define not only what Vibha focuses on, but also how we approach systemic change through partnership, community led models, and measurable outcomes. Your background blends technical expertise with human centered leadership, and that's something I believe we all can learn from. In this first part of our two-part interview, I'm excited to explore journey so far, the milestones, the impact stories, and the evolving project strategies that are driving change. I hope this conversation offers fellow volunteers and stakeholders a closer look at the depth of the work happening behind the scene and the vision guiding it. From strategy to impact, uncovering the story behind Vibha's project in India in conversation with none other than our own very own, our very own Kshitij Neroorkar. Let's begin by looking back. Looking back, what have been some of the most significant milestones in the project during our tenure as project director? Over to
Yeah.
you, Kshitij.
Yeah. Thanks, Deepali, for this opportunity. Actually, I'm very happy that I am able to share some of the learnings, some of the things that have happened in the projects team with the rest of the volunteers. And before I answer, I just want to mention that even though I am speaking here, a lot of this work is not, I cannot take credit for a lot of this work. I am lucky that I am in the right place at the right time. I was uh, the director of projects when there were major changes happening in Vibha.
Mm-hmm.
As far as our strategy was concerned and our approach and everything. And so I was lucky enough to be a part of all these changes. And I'm just hoping that whatever we've done over the past few years has led to a lot of children benefiting and some dent in the education landscape, right? So yeah, I mean, coming to your question, uh, so just to give a bit of background, about 3 or 4 years back, Vibha made this conscious choice of shifting our focus, and were more closely collaborating with governments, state governments across India, and working on the public education system. And because of that, we had to pivot, we had to change a lot of things in our operations, we had to change a lot of things in the way we were doing, we were doing things in India. And that, of course, led to a lot of significant milestones. The first thing which we had to do was to equip our team. And so, we had to hire many new members who had the right kind of expertise. Like we wanted, people who have worked with the government in
Mm-hmm.
close collaboration, or, done management of projects at large scale, projects that have been working across multiple districts or across an entire state, or, directly collaborating with state governments. So we had to bring in people who had the right skill set. And once that happened, once we had the right people in place, then things kind of just kicked off. And we the as we started engaging with different governments to try and understand what the needs were and where Vibha could step in, more and more things, more and more opportunities opened up. And a few of the very critical milestones that we did achieve were formation of a PMU,
Mm-hmm.
a Vibha PMU in Delhi, in the Municipal Corporation of Delhi schools. And we've been part of supporting the government in doing the transformation of the MCD schools in Delhi. The second one was the PMU, which we've recently onboarded in Nagaland, which all focuses on doing assessments and data analysis for FLN, foundational literacy and numeracy, across the state of Nagaland. And the most recent one is PMU, which we've we are currently working on building in Punjab. That is also in collaboration with the Punjab Development Commission, and this again, is going to be a major initiative from Vibha. So a lot of these things happened, because we had the right people in place, and we put our energies in the right direction. A few other things that also happened were, we were able to scale our English literacy program in Andhra Pradesh across 7 districts, which was really good. And I think one of the reasons again was because one of our program managers has been very, very closely working with the department there, with the education department, and then through him we were able to realize where are the needs, and how we can step in and how we can support the government, because at the end of the day, the government has maximum reach. They are the only ones who can make the difference, so our responsibility is to support them in whatever way we can. And another thing, which I also want to mention, and which we've also tried to do over the last few years, was focus on CSR, or corporate social responsibility, and to try and bring corporates also to be part of the solution in wherever we are working. And that helps because Vibha as an organization, we are raising funds through our volunteers efforts, and there is just a limit to how much we can do. But when we bring in more stakeholders and more donors, like CA corporates, then we are able to compound that effect, right? We are able to reach to much more number of beneficiaries, and that was the idea. So we started developing our CSR vertical, and just recently we have executed uh, two very significant projects in Telangana, in the Utnur and Asifabad areas,
Mm-hmm.
where we've developed STEM labs in the tribal schools, and also donated more than 4,000, around close to 4,000 benches in schools across that tribal region, through the support of a few corporates. So there has been a lot of significant milestones, as you can see from whatever I've mentioned over the last few years. And yeah, I mean, it's been a very exciting time, and I think Vibha is going in the right direction, and there are more exciting things to come for sure.
That's honestly amazing to hear, Kshitij. I didn't realize how much thought goes into the project gets scaled, how partnering with government, right skilled people. It's so easy to think it's just about funding good ideas, but the whole layer of working with, you know, government, it is very, crucial to work with government. You made a very important point of collaboration, keeping people with us, making them let's understand them and they understand us and our vision, taking community feedback and being intentional. That's what make it sustainable. And reaching places, creating, like you said, MOU, PMUs, project management units, that we made it at Delhi, then Nagaland, then Punjab. And that shows us deeply Vibha cares about going where help is really needed and not just where it's easy. So, as we speak, as we hear on milestones, was there a particular project or a movement that personally resonated with you? Would like to hear your side of like impact story that resonated to you.
I think you know I think there are aspects of every project that we work on
Mm-hmm.
which kind of leave a lasting impact,
Hmm.
at least for me. And instead of pointing out one project or the other, I'm going to point out few of the elements which are common in all the projects. Some elements which are there in all the projects, which actually are the ones that motivate me on a regular basis, right? One is, whenever we visit these projects and meet with the people on the ground, like the beneficiaries, right? The
Hmm.
children, the teachers, the headmasters in each of these schools, and we hear their stories. And also, if we get some feedback on the work we have done, that is something that really motivates me to see that how the children are actually benefiting, because at the end of the day, whatever work we are doing is for the benefit of the children. right. So and when we hear the stories directly from the teachers who are the prime movers of our project,
Mhm.
and the principals and the local government officials, that is the one of the main things that motivates me, or I'm sure it will motivate any volunteer who
Correct.
has the opportunity to visit. The other thing also is talking to government officials at different levels, right from the state level down to district level and down to the local cluster level government officials. It gives you a very different perspective, and that is what also really motivates me, because when I talk to for example, last week I was in Nagaland for the MOU signing for our PMU, and we were discussing with with the state mission director of the Samagra Shiksha.
Mhm.
And it's really amazing to see how much effort they are also putting in to to improve the education landscape. And it's really heartening that we with our limited resources are able to support them, right, in one way or the other. And together we are able to bring this positive change. So I think talking to government officials at different level is another thing that really has always impacts me, and keeps motivating me to go further. The Another one of the stakeholders whom we are regularly engaged with is our knowledge partners. So for example, in different areas, we will bring in the right knowledge partner, like for English literacy, for early childhood education, for different kinds of where we require specialized technical knowledge. We bring in knowledge partners to support us in those. And
Mhm.
having discussions with these guys also gives a very different perspective, because each of them have a lot of innovation behind whatever models they have developed. There is a lot of thought which has gone in, and years and years of work and thought process gone behind developing these models and approaches. And engaging with these people, it also gives you a lot of perspective, and really has a huge impact. And finally, above all, interacting with all our Vibha India ground team, right, our program managers, who are actually traveling to all the remotest parts where we have projects. They are traveling there. They are putting in extra efforts more than
Mhm.
what we are demanding from them, and doing whatever it takes, because at the end of the day we are all working towards, as I said, working towards the benefit of the children. So
Correct.
all these interacting with all of these people on a regular basis, or when I visit a project, that is what always leaves a lasting impact, and also keeps motivating me. And I'm sure it's a similar case with other volunteers as well.
Wow, that gave me chills. And how seamlessly you have incorporated all the members. And it's not your 3 years journey, but it's just that you gave me an overall journey of Vibha, then the people involved. So many hours of journey included the knowledge partner, our team here in India, uh, the stakeholders that are working, government people who are engaged with us. This is such a phenomenal moment to listen, actually. And the one important thing that you actually said, it's at the same time, it's like it's a some simple movement, like a child reading. But when you think of what it represents for that child, for that future, for even the family of that child, it's huge. Thanks for sharing that, Kshitij. And sometimes I think we all need those reminders that behind every report, behind every dashboard, there is a real person whose life is
Yes,
changing. And that's
right,
awesome.
exactly.
Yeah. And that's such a powerful example that you have shared through your experience. But taking a step back, I'm curious, how have the types of projects we support or overall project portfolio evolved under your leadership? If you can shed light on that.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I don't know if I will say it's under my leadership. It's more like, as the team developed, and
Mm-hmm.
as we got in the right people, and our focus changed. So we
Mm-hmm.
also had to evolve, right? Vibha had to evolve.
Correct.
So earlier we were working with smaller projects, in which the number of beneficiaries was fixed, and we were able to fully control all the outcomes of the project. But now then, when we shifted to working on large scale projects, collaborating with government,
Hmm.
of course our portfolio changed, also along with that. And so one of the things which we did was, to try and I've also mentioned this in the first question which you asked, that one of the things which we did was to try and reach out to different governments across India to try and find out what are the requirements in that area, right? Because every government, as I said, is putting in a lot of efforts in improving the education landscape in their specific jurisdiction, right? Across
Correct.
India, there is a lot of work happening, in all the states, and hats off to all the IAS officers and all the government departments who are putting in a lot of efforts to improve the overall system. And so, what happened is that, and everywhere we went, there was a slightly different
Hmm.
requirement, right? And one of the very good parts about Vibha is that we have been very flexible and open, and we are not very rigid on what we want to do. So depending on the requirement of a particular geography, we are kind of trying to bring in the right kind of solution to that place. For example, in Nagaland, when we had approached the state government to ask, that where are the requirement there was that they were setting up a PMU with their own officials
Hmm.
to do the analysis of the assessment data for from the different schools across the entire state, and they needed a couple of experts to help them do the actual data analysis and to train their own team,
Hmm.
do capacity building in doing this analysis going forward, and also to help them build some kind of tools and dashboards like IT kind of work. And so there, our solution was to kind of provide, two resources who are sitting in the Samagra Shiksha PMU office, and they are supporting the team there in doing the data analysis and and doing the government, I mean, doing the IT solutions kind of thing. In Delhi, it was a completely different thing. In Delhi, the government was looking at doing a lot of improvement in the MCD schools. And there were a lot of ideas which were there, like the mentor teacher program, the principal leadership development program, happiness curriculum. So they had a lot of ideas which they wanted to implement, and they needed support from some organization which can help put all of these things together and coordinate between different knowledge partners who are expert in these areas, to coordinate between them and make sure that all these programs are being executed. And so there our PMU was supporting in a different way.
Hmm.
And
So,
then in Andhra Pradesh, the government's requirement was that,
hmm.
yes,
No, no, you
go ahead,
complete.
I think you were saying.
No,
Okay.
no, you
Yeah,
complete this.
in
Yeah.
Okay. In Andhra Pradesh, the requirement was, for teaching the children English. So there, the approach which we utilized was to kind of bring a program which specializes on teaching English using the local language, right? So
Hmm.
using Telugu. And the same program we've also applied in Telangana with the tribal department. Also, we are the same program is also being deployed in Maharashtra. So depending on the situation, we've kind of evolved our portfolio. We've tried to bring in the right kind of solution. In Chhattisgarh, we are working with an organization which supports in language literacy, because in Chhattisgarh, in the tribal areas, the local language of the children is different from the language of instruction. And so, we are working with an organization which helps us, helps the students, right? Helps the teachers in teaching language to the students, and using different tools. So every program has been different, but the common aspects of all of these programs has been that we are always working on programs which are sustainable. So, we want to build a situation in which if Vibha in the future, has stops funding, these programs will continue because the government is always going to execute these programs. So, we try to work on capacity building of the government so that they can execute these programs. We work on capacity building of teachers, all the different machineries of the government, so that going forward these programs will sustain whether or not
Mm,
we are there or not to provide funding or support. And the other aspect is scalability. We want these programs to be designed in such a way that it becomes easy for the government to scale them. So there is no so the financial aspect of the program does not increase proportionately to the scale. So if you are going from one district to five district, the program cost should not multiplied by five, but it has to kind of per child cost has to reduce.
right.
So scalability, sustainability, and at the end of the day, we want to make sure that whatever programs we are working are benefiting our end beneficiaries who are the children. And so we need to have the right metrics in place for every program to make
Mm,
sure that that our beneficiaries are benefiting from the program. And that's why so these are the three main elements: scalability, sustainability, and the impact metrics that are common to all the programs that we work on, though the solution might be slightly different in different geographies depending on the need.
it's so cool to see the shift of all the things that you have shared and whatever little bit I have understood. It clearly shows the metamorphosis of Vibha from being few passionate volunteers coming together and dreaming of doing the change in the quality, shifting that thing to the purpose and the process. So that change is happening and that change is taking the entire ecosystem together. So from building access to actually shaping the ecosystem, this is a really great shift. And as you said, maybe we are also moving forwards towards kind of policy level thing. We are also trying to reassure and honestly to know that the organization is just not reacting but evolving with what the times demand and adapt to the situation itself, brings the reality check to the organization. And maybe the point that you kind of my like we have new policies of educational like NEP 2020. We are also taking care of that through all the things that we are doing. So that gives volunteers maybe the real sense of purpose at exactly how we are rooting towards or moving forward. With this evolving portfolio, Kshitij, I imagine our approach to tracking progress must have changed. There must be certain things that we are, you know, and look, as you rightly said, we the third part or third leg that you said was impact metrics. So taking that same point and moving ahead, if you have to, shed a light or discuss something about how our impact measurements are, or how is the rise of data and impact matrices happened throughout the years, just maybe more to that, if you want to add.
Yeah, so as I mentioned earlier, we were
Mm,
working on smaller projects in which
correct.
the number of beneficiaries were much smaller,
Mm-hmm.
and we had overall visibility of the entire, all the beneficiaries that we were supporting, right? We could track every single thing because they were kind of always the same fixed number of beneficiaries. But when we shifted our focus to working on large scale projects, what
Mm,
happened was that we no longer had that liberty of having data from every single beneficiary. We didn't even it was not even possible to go and collect the data for these large projects, like where we have 10,000 beneficiaries across multiple like districts and things like that. And so what we had to do was start focusing more on data collection, how data collection is done, how data analysis is done, and and also a lot of effort internally we had to put in designing our own metrics as to what is it that Vibha is looking for when when we onboard any project, or when we are planning to fund any project. What is it that we are looking for from that project? And within our team in Vibha, which is the projects team which focuses on these aspects, and the India operations team, we had multiple rounds of discussions on what are our own KPI, what are the KPIs we are looking for, and what is it that we would like to measure our projects against.
Hmm.
And it was a little bit difficult because as I mentioned, every model is different depending on the geography where we work, right? And so what we had to do is find the common threads, and what we've tried to do is have some variable KPIs also, but we wanted to have some common ones. And that's where, I mentioned earlier about the sustainability, scalability, and the impact on the learning levels, or, the
Hmm.
impact to the beneficiary. So these three buckets, I would say, of KPIs
Hmm.
have been, are the main drivers for us.
Hmm.
And what we have been doing is, using these three main umbrella umbrella KPIs, and having multiple sub metrics within these, which we use to kind of evaluate our different models. And this is of course a work ongoing, because this all is very recent to us. We are
Correct.
also learning phase. So this is something that is going to evolve. And we've also trying to develop a dashboard. I
Hmm.
mean, we've already developed a dashboard. We engaged with a company that does development of tools for
Hmm.
NGOs, and we've developed a dashboard where these KPIs, we will use these KPIs to track our projects. And year on year we will be able to see how these projects are kind of evolving over multiple years. So that is, we are also trying to be more tech oriented, because as the amount of data is increasing, when we are working with these large geographies and all that, it becomes very
Hmm.
difficult to
Correct.
if we are not using proper tools.
Right.
And so yeah, there has been a lot of change in the way we are thinking. We have been more become more objective, we have become more data oriented, more tech oriented. So yeah, I mean, there has been a lot of transformation for us. And it
Hmm.
will take some time for all of it to settle down. Right now, we are
Right.
very much in the learning phase. So yeah, I think we have changed a lot, but there is a long way to go for us.
Totally. And but still, I can see totally the how the changes everything. And like really like the way said. Maybe not the term that you use, but I'm just drawing it from your conversation, that it's about accountability. It's not, but like just not about the accountability. It's also about supporting our partners also to grow, ourselves also to grow, and being in that phase where we are being in that uh, generating a cohesive, synergized approach towards everything. And that feels different from usual donor grantee dynamic. It's more like partnership in the true sense. And having those real time dashboard must really shift how quickly we can course correct to, right? So as we become more impact focused, more scalable, moving towards sustainability, I believe our budgeting and funding strategies had to evolve too. If you can share some thoughts around that.
Yeah, so there was definitely a huge shift. Earlier, I remember when we were in uh, the earlier phase in which we were having smaller projects and all, lot of the funding was the different aspects within each project which we were funding were more towards activities which
Hmm.
the projects were doing, like or day-to-day activities which we were doing directly with the beneficiaries, right? So
Hmm.
some teacher going to every single doing every single thing with the beneficiaries, or distributing books or things like that, which are, lot of activities which are done as part of these projects. However, slowly we have shifted more towards, different kinds of project, right? In these projects, it's more like we are now training people who are training the teachers, right? So, or we are training teachers and the teachers. So the type of activity has changed. Also, it's like we are doing capacity building for government officials. We are working on data collection. So, we need to have some system in place, either some kind of tool, digital tool, to go and collect the data, or there has to be at some percentage of time, actual people going and doing some percentage of the data collection manually. So are the type of work that is happening on the ground has shifted from us being directly engaged with the beneficiaries, to us being working more with the machinery, sort of, to do the capacity building, also to do the data collection. And so because of that, the different budget items in the in our budget have completely changed,
Hmm.
right? And they are and our projects are more focused on leveraging the government machinery, because what happens is you cannot control every, I mean, you cannot fund everything, in
Right.
these large scale projects. The
Hmm.
way to scale is to use the machinery of the government, so that because the governments already have the existing machinery, they have multiple officials who are responsible for their jurisdiction. And so working with those officials, and doing capacity building of those officials, training them to sort of cascade our models to the next level. Also training the government officials to go and collect the data, which helps us to assess the quality of the model, and also to develop something that they can use to collect the data. So these are the the change. And so the of course the funding strategy also has to change as a result of all these changes that we are doing. The second thing is, also we want to bring in corporates to support us in funding many of the aspects, because they are also looking for good opportunities to make an impact. A lot of corporates are very much focused on education, and so bringing them also to be part of this funding these projects has also led to a lot of change for us within Vibha. So yeah, I mean, there has been definitely a lot of shift, and also the kind of discussions which we are having within our team has also changed a lot. It used to be very much, as I said, activity focused, that why we are doing this activity versus the other activity. But now it's more at a higher level,
Hmm.
because the type of projects have changed. Everything has changed, so we are also learning slowly in the process. But yeah, it's been a significant change for us as well over the last few years.
That's such a thoughtful approach. And if I have to, if like imagine this, there's a government, there is CSR, the corporates together, our knowledge partners, the entire Vibha team working towards the very end goal that we have is our children. And I never thought about the difference between funding a project versus funding the solution. And what Vibha is doing, it really sounds like Vibha is playing a long game and also giving space for new ideas to breathe in. Even if they don't work out immediately, that's fine. But at least we are giving that space to the people. We are making sure that the people are coming to us or we are going to them with open thought process, not the closed one. That is what you addressed also, that we are very adaptable organization. We try to find out the need, but we also kind of cater to the other partner's need. And that kind of mindset is really rare. And I think it gives both donors and our volunteers a lot of confidence. So, before we go to our closing statement, anything that you want to share, Kshitij, as the last leg of thoughts for this part of our conversation?
No, I mean, the only thing I would like to say is that I hope that, our volunteers
Mhm.
across the US, across India are, I hope that through this session, and I thank you, Deepali, for organizing this. I hope that our message of what we are trying to do in Vibha, goes to all these volunteers who are putting in so much efforts to raise funds, through their local campaigns and events that they are doing across the US and across India. And I hope that it motivates them, and it gives them the clarity of what it is that their efforts, what we are able to achieve is all because of their efforts. So I hope that this message goes across to all of them.
Definitely. And it's also like how, see, like, one thing I really admire when you kept saying about all and you gave credits to everybody. And that's a great sign of a leader that you want everybody to come together, work towards a one goal and grow together. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Kshitij, for such a rich and thoughtful conversation. Your perspective on impact, scale, and staying grounded in community needs is incredibly valuable, and it really gives us volunteers a clearer picture of how each piece of puzzle fits together. This conversation had made it clear that the work we do, it's not just about implementing projects, it's about building a system of trust, equity, and long-term change. And that kind of work takes not just passion, but vision and clarity, which you have demonstrated beautifully. We are wrapping up part one, but I'm really looking forward to continuing the conversation in part two, where we will dive deeper into the challenges, innovation, and what's next for Vibha's project strategy. Until then, thank you once again for leading with such purpose and clarity, Kshitij. And to you all, please share, subscribe to this. We will be having more such conversation, thoughtful leaders coming our way. Thank you so much.
Thank you.